you when I do it one more time. Just how about 10 times?
Go.
Then go a little higher even. Teeny bit. Are you all right with this?
Go.
Ready? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say this one. Let's see. Which one could we use? We could use maybe the longer one just to make sure.
4.
Let's try this. So I'm going to try another idea here. There, just hold it straight out. So we can put it like over your head. So now we're going to do a little harder. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Ready?
Ouch.
And then gradually tap, tap, and a little more. 1. See, until the cringing just goes away. You know what I mean? And there's no way it could hurt you. And just keep with the same, and we'd have to do like allow only. There's got to be a unit of measure that everybody agrees to. You don't do it any harder than everybody can have a code, whatever words you want to use according to your group. You know what I mean, to start out. Then you can just more hits per second. Then you can go hard with that. See, you hear the noise. A lot of times the noise will make you. If you get women that are more sensitive to things, that, you know what I mean, the noise and the shock of a thing will make you to a point, and then your whole body reacts to it. See, 1, 2, 3, and then again. See, there's really one more time. Just how about 10 times?
Go.
Then go a little higher even. Teeny bit. Are you all right with this?
Go.
Ready? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8.
Alright, stop.
Right, what's up, guys? Time for another video. I want to go straight to the point with this one without going off the subject, because I made another video about how I worked at a scrapyard and how family members and them knew each other because doing the actual business as a customer. And in a long story short, I was saying how it become not just that, you know, when I was helping take all the scrap there, you know, in the family car or whatever, and sometimes, you know, they went by themselves. It was also a place for, say if you wanted to have an example, if this looked like any of you guys out there, that it was also a place for maybe your father or stepfather to complain and criticize that bitch that he was married to, you know, beyond the business because he frequented enough. Just like going to the beer bar or the coffee bar, you know what I mean? But I figure I wanted to just get to the point and not fill in the blanks with that last video, because I went a little far with that, you know, to bear with me. But this is a thing about like stuff stemming from family, this gaslighting and this game playing going on, and it leads to gang stalking, about how your own family members will show their true colors and behave a certain way and eventually scream at the top of their lungs, just like the boss of the scrapyard did. He went from speaking to me like I'm a retard, or speak to me like I'm some like their brother-in-law's little girl, hi honey, and making retarded faces or saying goofy shit like that, or speaking to you like you're. And then they end up, I said in that other video how they end up getting mad when they find shit out, you know, because of shit, and then they like scream at the top of their lungs. Well, my own family members over there in the house, you know, were doing the same thing too, because I regarded this scrapyard as a gold mine, because some of you guys that know me, I tell you, some of you guys, where you can go to a scrapyard, not just sell scrap, where you can go somewhere and buy, I don't know, anything. Instead of having a baton or club bell or kettlebell, you can get stuff cheaper at a scrapyard or different things like that. I regarded this as a gold mine, okay, and big opportunities that I can get stuff cheap and maybe make it go further than what I'm doing now. Instead of like how I talked in videos about some of you guys with your fitness stuff, you know, nothing wrong with the Patreon thing. But I do it, you know, whether I make money or not, but I had endeavors to eventually do someday different things what I do. But, you know, that's all separate for another video. But I like to say what I sort of actually pissed my own family members off, because what it was I was, work before me and my girlfriend met each other, and my girlfriend was involved in videos, and I even showed my family members DVDs I was making, DVD versions that I was touching on of stuff I'm putting on my YouTube. And you know how you want to do what people call passive aggression or microaggression, where I try to tell you how people are being passive aggressive, right? Or playing games with you where you can do something as a hint back to them to see how they react. That because there's things maybe you resent about the family members and you want to flaunt, or maybe they might actually like it a little bit for a common good, I don't know. But there was things I was resented about. Say you were fighting with your mother a lot, but there was stuff about maybe your stepdad or something, different ways they were slightly passive aggressive. Little shit, you can talk to them about this or that, but there's things that you resent back from when you were younger and you want to get even. And maybe you had that family member, like that stepfather, that when they divorced you from your mother got divorced from your natural father for whatever reason, get rid of the stepdad, and you find out the stepdad had ways you resented about him, but you liked him sometimes, but then there were ways about him you want to passive aggressively get even, because you find out that they were accused, before my mother married him, your mother finds out they were accused of wife battery, like that they were married to maybe a couple other wives, and it was found out because there was documents my mother pursued. But then, but then you find this out and you resent them because when you talk to a teenager, they're threatening that they'll put your effing ass in a hospital, different things like that over petty shit as a teenager. But how you were groomed in so many ways to be this mamby-pamby, this timid thing, and then they think later you're not going to eventually grow up and you're not going to be flaunt things in their face. I'm going to talk all this in parentheses. I worked at the scrapyard. I was actually not just doing it to be a worker and the people at the scrapyard didn't know. I'm buying this stuff because I have these ideas and they didn't know, right? And then your own parents don't know either way, too, and I'm doing this, and eventually they don't really want you doing this. They want you to be timid and all that. So I did DVD versions of some of my things I was touching on, had my girlfriend actually involved in one of them that I know a couple of you guys seen. And and I kind of made sure my stepdad knew that I put my girlfriend in one of these little videos too, that if I had other people, that I would, in groups, not just one-on-one, as far as women, in groups, or there's people around. I would advocate this, and any of these female fitness people, I want to advocate this for a reason. I wanted to flaunt in my stepdad's face in so many ways that I'm deliberately want to empower women to not be weak, so I can, and then my mother with some of her ways. But yet I wanted to do it as a religion, but my mother screamed, swore, and trained smoked as far as in religion, but they don't want empowerment. And how you can criticize religion, some for the good and bad, I preached in other videos. But anyway, eventually it went down that, days after, in the middle where stepdad watching TV, it gets forgotten. You watch the DVDs or whatever, and you kind of want to put something in your head. That it's almost like a thing where you're setting up the thing to trigger maybe anger or any reaction later. You say another day, well, maybe the stepdad's watching TV. Because you get into a conversation, say, well, that stuff in them DVDs, I have some plans. You know what I mean? I mean, that I'm actually, this is stuff that I'm actually have been put for years online and stuff like that. And for the DVDs, he didn't pay much attention. He's just watching his TV, and then, we'd be in the family car, and he'd say these little passive-aggressive remarks, because they really don't really like you sometimes, and they're in their moods. But, I got this reaction right eventually later, I hit a nerve eventually where, sometimes you're trying to hit a nerve. You do that with your enemies, and you don't hit a nerve, but when you are looking to, you don't. But then, I don't know, somewhere along the line, you finally hit one. Okay, I tell him, well, yes, I have this on the internet. And I said, I aspire to put my girlfriend in these things more, and I want to have more people doing it. You know, he exploded in it. I kid you not. He exploded in anger, yelling at me. Well, before he started yelling, he goes, "Oh, be careful what you put on the internet." And then I told him, "Well, I put this stuff on the internet." And he explodes in anger. Because usually I couldn't get like any kind of a huge reaction except passive aggression. Screaming at the top of his lungs, and I'm telling him, "Oh, what's wrong with putting on the internet?" And he goes, he spouts out this answer. And you know how I tell about certain people to make an argument instead of listen to you when they don't have a valid argument. Just like, you fight with your mother even, or stepfather, or other people outside a family. How when they don't have anything in an argument, they yell on top of you instead of rebuttaling your thing. Well, people in politics do it. Well, you know what he yelled? He goes, "That's against the law." I mean, what against the law? I said, people are using different kind of implements. It's all over the place. Everything from CrossFit to kettlebell, club bell, medieval clubs. That's my kind of thing, but it's all empower women to resist it. Plus, I was also telling you guys too about how things are happening on the news that women need a little bit of, without actually claiming to have a degree in any kind of art. There's some things that you can do that some of these other people, when they find out they're dealing with somebody who fight back, they'll run away. But I was trying to do a test to see, how I criticize them radical feminists, but then for a common good, there is some things where women should have a right to resist certain things. And there was how I talk about how domestic violence is not cool. If you were younger, you lived in where family members are fighting all the time, throwing things at each other and screaming and swearing, and police at the door. I don't know, you grow up, you want to do something passive aggressive to get even, where other people or teenagers are, God forbid, doing some bad things that they get arrested for, that I don't even want to speak. You're seeing on the news that they're doing violent things against their parents and exploding. I don't even want to say that shit or go there, but I decided instead that I flaunted him, that I'm trying to do an empowerment, because I wanted to get him see if he is one of those that, they get older now and they mellow out and they start getting medical problems. When they get older, they'd still be, even maybe if, just because you say one thing, man, they'd be coming out with their fist. "Oh, put your F in it." Yeah. But yeah, it got me laughing. He was screaming at the top of his lungs, says, how is it against the law? What the fuck are you talking about? He goes, "That's militarizing, that's terrorism, that's training to kill people." I said, "Where the fuck am I training to kill people?" And I was asking him that, right? And before I can finish a sentence, I kept telling him, I should, this was shit that I could have hit a camera and recorded. I wish the fuck I did. He's yelling on top of me. I said, where, how am I training to kill? What the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, "Oh, I don't care. That shit just gets such fucking against the law." And he's like, and he's supposed to like be older now and had other things wrong with him. He's, his health is different now. But he finds an analogy. He's yelling at the top of his lungs. And it's almost like I proved that, he had the tendencies that, when they were older, they never changed because, stemming from when you were younger. But then before me and the girlfriend met, right, like I told you that this other story, that long-ass story, that before I walked out at everybody and just said, "Fuck you, I quit," I don't care. I don't care if I inherit that house or not. I can give a fuck. Everybody get the fuck away from me, last straw. But anyway, I was working this scrapyard because, he sold his scrap, and he's like, but it became a place for him to complain all the time about that bitch that he married and then all that. So they were talking about you there. They knew each other, and I was working at that scrapyard, and they thought some stuff, and that other video was about how I pissed those people off. So this was to kind of put it together, you know what I'm saying? And till to this day, I'd have, I want to build some kind of different gym, something nobody's doing before. That stuff with the yoga mats, you're inspired by a lot of things, you know what I mean? But everybody else is doing the plastic yoga mat thing. Wonderful people on the internet. And then I'm saying stuff that you're doing anyway, you can be out in certain locations. Then how I was to eventually work for this story kind of dovetails into maybe I told some people that I work next to stories like this, that because they were women, you know what I mean, that half this place was women. You know, fast forward later, I get fired from a place for trying to show off front of the women, hey, they can be learning to do this, resurrecting their own cheerleader or dance class skills, and, you know, be humorous. But yet I told some of them how, you know, dysfunctional environments, women's rights to not be this. I mean, there were a couple friends of mine too, or a black gentleman too, that were concerned about, you know, they want to teach their wives how to, if they're not there, to fight back if somebody, you know, was to do some things like that shit you see on the news. You know, you have friends that are both black and white. I worked at a place called Ardex. One of my friends, a black gentleman, he was like saying amen to me when I was talking about how if you're not there, you want your wife and girlfriend to be safer if she can, you know, not to really claim anything. And there was a part of me that resents that domestic violence bullshit, because when I was a teenager, without telling you people my life story, did how you just did, you know, you were living with family for a while, you know, I mean, you may have went back when you were unemployed and then fucking walked out on it again, but you figure family will be back, you know, and have that family together after everybody's older and mellowed out. But I was trying to tell you that what happens as far as gaslighting and gang stalking when a dysfunctional family is around, and then you take a job that job, people in that job know the family member and how that trouble happens and how lies get perpetuated and propagated. And I'm trying to tell you this is not a poor me. This is a how things were. How you, I'm bragging to you. I'm not going poor me. I'm going how, I'm trying to tell you good news, how you can fuck over your enemies. And the place you work for will go from belittling you to playing games with you to actually getting mad and screaming at the top of their lungs when you were supposed to be assumed or presumed or groomed to be this timid idiot. And then they think that you get as old as you are now, you're still going to be that. And don't laugh. There are some people at a young age, they figure they can mess up people's minds when they're young. And then there's people that go around my age and older that will be mistaken for being retarded, because if they work on you while you were a kid, you could be that now that you never. And then that's bad news for other people outside, because people will walk all over you. But how you can like actually piss people off, you know, you can be going into a place where you're not working at the job no well, people will mistake you for. They'll try to retaliate and say, oh, you're just blaming people for your failure. I'm like, no, you end up doing something too well. You were set up in some place to fail. You disprove them in the place, and then they get, they're setting you up to fail, and then you embarrass them in front of a bunch of people that are around. So they turn around, instead of belittling you, they blow up and scream at the top of their lungs. And then you're like, fuck you then, you know, hey, it's not like I don't got some other place to damn go, you know what I mean? And then meanwhile, you grew up, you work in these places, and you had one place you worked late a bunch of time ago where you had profit sharing bonuses, and then they cut that out, and then they get rid of people, and you're working some shittier job. You wonder if it's going to get any better, but I don't care if it's fucking construction or anything. When you land one of them better ones for a bunch of years, save the money, because there's people playing games trying to get you bumped off. What I'm trying to tell you is, from when you're a teenager, you have dysfunctional house, and it's people, and then you're in school, maybe you're being bullied or games played with you. You get older, it's an older version. You're going to these workplaces, you're a certain age, and it's just like fucking being in high school. People play the same immature games, but it's different. You get wiser, they get wiser. And they'll make the same faces. You get people that act like overgrown school kids. But the difference between then and now is you get the pleasure of fucking them over and disproving them, right? And they get mad and scream at the top of their lungs, you know. But then you'll get some of them that don't get mad. They just keep making the faces, and then they'll be like, oh, fuck you, you know. You'll have this other clique over here in some place. Whether it's people in your town or people in some other workplace, they'll be like, oh, they'll get together and say, oh, fuck him. How dare him disprove us? We're your buddies. We'll stand by you. We'll just keep repeating some kind of shit like it's a religion, you know, get together and just keep repeating it like it's like some mantra. Get together, and they probably got some little cult where they're chanting it like a mantra, you know, thinking eventually it'll come true, you know. So yeah, there are people out there that will that they want you to fail, you know. You could be temporarily out of action, work a little or less, or and then they'll judge you right then and there. But you know, and they'll be saying, "Oh yeah, you're into this. Sure, you can do this, but why don't you get a job or whatever?" Because like you go from that thing where you're employed, eating out every day in some place like years ago to I don't know, working shitty jobs this much time a week or whatever they are. I mean, you can be up here, you know, and then you can get poorer. You say you're doing good for a while, and then you can be failing for a while. And there's people out there that are waiting for that time for you to fail because they want so badly to say, oh, why don't you get a fucking job and do shit like that, right? Like you get these, yeah, like you have these things where like you do on assignment, save the money, and then you can say, take your money and get the job, get something done, get another assignment, take your money and get the fuck out of there, you know, fuck you, and, you know, that's life, what can you say, you know? Like everybody has this time where they were prospering at one time, whether you're black or white watching. And, you know, there was times where you may have been more prosperous. That they're waiting for you to fail so because they want so badly, like I said, this to when you were more successful, you know, they always longed for that time for you to fail so they could say, oh, motherfucker, well, your words ain't nothing, your intelligence ain't shit, why don't you get a fucking job? And yes, the people that they're watching my videos right now are the one that they always say, I agree with them 100%, that the people that play their games, they want you to be homeless and destitute. If you're successful, they want you to fail, and if you're not doing as good as you once were, they want you to be lower than that, destitute, because if you're too intelligent and know too much, they want you to be insignificant and homeless, and so they can say, oh, you're this or that, you're on crack, that's the games. What people, they do that in politics too. Everybody, and even in politics, higher up on, they want to. Make no mistake about it. They want to see the other guy knocked out of action, be destitute out in the street, so they don't have a voice nowhere. Because when you actually have some kind of intelligence somewhere, and you're outspoken and know too much, or you do something once in a while, you always have to prove to people. Yes, they would love you to be destitute. Want you to be. Just get you isolated and want you to be. That's, yeah. Make no mistake. That's what your enemies want.